Hello, Fringers. The following podcast may not be suitable for all ages. Listener discretion is advised. Look alive, sunshine.
It's 2099, under a gold and crimson sky. A group of punks run the streets, just trying to stay alive. Boardwalks to boardrooms, back alleys and big bars. Trust your instincts. No one's who they say they are. Information's easy come and easy go. You best stay on your toes. Big Brother is watching. It's time to put on a show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest episode of Angel City Stories. My name is Sean, a.k.a. Mallow. I am your GM and the co-creator of Identico. And joining me in the studio today is...
Joe.
Who is playing...
Grifter/Muffins.
Explain a little bit about Grifter and Muffins for me.
Grifter is a RAV operator. In description, kind of, this sounds so generic, I know, but stereotypical white dude. Kind of mousy, not super, physically imposing or anything. Brown hair, brown eyes, nothing like fancy or memorable about him, except for the fact that probably his true love of his life is his ROV named Muffins. She is basically how he lives his life. He tries to live through her vicariously because flesh bodies kind of suck.
Describe Muffins a little bit, because Muffins is an ROV, robotically operated vehicle. So it's about 9 foot tall?
Yeah, I think we settled on something about 8 feet, 9 feet.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever really 100% hammered that out, but we've kind of just generally been in the 8 to 9 foot range. And honestly, with Muffins, it could vary. Mainly because little bits and pieces get blown off here and there, and we just kind of hodgepodge her back together. Nominally, she started out as what would basically be the equivalent of Identico military surplus.
Yeah.
Questionable legalness of acquiring that one. And since then, she's been rebuilt and repurposed and reconstructed many times.
Yeah.
So as of right now, she kind of looks like something like a walking rust pile. And that's specifically because as early in as a character, I kind of decided that Muffins, whenever things are replaced, she's never repainted.
Oh, okay.
So every piece that gets reattached is just whatever color it is to begin with.
So whatever color from the junkyard, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I never go over, I'll do basic maintenance on her, but I won't clean off burn marks or bullet holes. We might fill them in, but we don't repair the paint around it, that sort of thing. So she's kind of I wouldn't say exactly junk heap, but she definitely has seen some love.
Yeah, yeah.
And at one point, I haven't decided if this is canon yet or not, but at one point someone actually, as a prank, had welded on a little eye hole with little fuzzy dice hanging down on her chest. And of course the dice started out as kind of like a hot pink, but now they're kind of burned and scorched. So they just kind of look chunky.
It's just an off-white now, basically. Yeah, okay. All right.
But I think one of her most signifying features is one of the additions he added was a faceplate that goes over the front of it that's just like a basic LCD screen.
Yep.
And typically what's displayed on there is just a crude ASCII emoji, like a smiley face or something like that gets changed periodically. And at one point in time, I even used it to display basically "come with me if you want to live" in scrolling marquee text.
Yeah.
Across it. So she's definitely a vibrant machine.
So we have to kind of say too is Grifter and Muffins has been around since day one of Identico, very close
Pretty
to day
early,
one
yeah.
of Identico. And he and she have gone through a lot of metamorphosis. So when he talks about getting parts replaced and things like that, that's all happened in games, in beta tests, in different con games that we talk about, with Alex and his characters. Muffins has been there. Muffins is so well known that like if we sit there and we steal from Titanfall and we go prepare for Titanfall and everybody looks around, they look around for Joe. Like if you say that in a convention game and some of the people that have been there with us before, they look around for Joe, and if they know what's happening, they know Muffins is there. And it's been a hell of a ride with her so far.
I have been present for games where you both used her as an NPC.
Yep.
And people kind of groaned loudly whenever you mentioned that it was Muffins because of her reputation.
Yep.
And I have been asked by random people at conventions, when's Muffin coming out?
How does that feel to be kind of like a celebrity at conventions?
Weird. Pretty weird, honestly.
Yeah. She's actually in the book in a way. Like the beginnings of her is in the book.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Mark I military drone that's in there.
Yep.
And so like, yeah, I mean, it's been like I said, it's been baked in from the beginning, but it's been added on so many times now.
I actually have 2 different versions of Muffins.
Yeah, as far as the character sheet?
Yeah, I have the OG Muffins. I actually named her OG Muffins, so I could tell the difference. And this one is actually OG or Muffins Mark II.
Okay, so it's like Iron Man suits almost at this point.
Eventually, in some day, like I would really like to make a small version of her named Cupcake.
Okay, I mean we could make that happen. Is that one of your agendas basically in the game?
I don't think as far as a character goes, I'm not going to make that an official agenda, but as a player, I think I'm going to make that an agenda.
Okay, all right. We'll try. We'll see what we can do to make that happen.
Yeah, like a little 1 foot tall one with like a little magnetically driven BB gun. Like a Gauss BB gun.
Like a Gauss BB gun, yeah. I mean, a Gauss BB gun. I wonder what the damage profile would be on that.
We should workshop that.
We should workshop that, yeah. That might make it into the game at any point. All right. So I have a couple of questions that I've been asking everybody as we going to go along. And so at this point in time, people will have met Muffins and you in the podcast. But what is your reasons for sort of joining up with a group?
Money.
Money?
And I know that's probably a pretty stereotypical answer, but as a character, I think it's a pretty good motivation just because Muffins is expensive to run. She runs through a lot of ammo. Black market replacement parts are not cheap typically.
Right.
But yeah, his big thing is being able to afford the cash to continue, or be able to make the cash to be able to continue being Muffins. Because like I mentioned, he lives through her vicariously.
Yeah.
So he doesn't like his flesh body very much. So keeping her operational and happy is one of his driving goals.
We should note that there has been at one point in time in one of the convention games that we've ran that Muffins has literally picked up the meat body and carried it to the next objective.
Yep. That's happened a couple times, actually.
Yeah, because it's, what's the easiest way to go? I mean, just
I believe one
giant
of those,
robot.
Yeah, I believe one of those times I threatened to custom order one of those big, like, baby carrying backpacks for Muffin.
Oh, shit! I forgot about the baby born incident.
Yeah, and there have been times I've legitimately considered ways to let Muffins carry the meat body safer. Like maybe like kind of a crude box or a shield or something, so it's not getting shot up while being carried around.
It's like what's the Tesla truck?
Yeah,
like that kind of thing of baby borns.
She tends to draw a lot of fire, and that can be bad for my health if I'm being carried by her at the time.
Yeah, but you start a lot of shit. Let's be honest.
I do. And so far to date, I've only carried one other player with Muffins, and that player unfortunately caught a whole lot of shrapnel from an exploding missile. So
was that Blizz?
No, that was one of the random characters at a con.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, Blizz has his own backstory that we'll eventually get into as he kind of makes his way in and out of the podcast, but.
Yeah.
Muffins has taken him out a couple times too.
A few times.
Yeah.
It's just one of those cases where the character was in a dire situation and I happened to be nearby and they're like, I'm going to jump on the back of Muffins. And I gave him a warning. I was like, this is not a great idea, but you're welcome to come along.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
All right. the next question that I sort of have on this one is like, in your past, which is long and lengthy at this point, like, who have you wronged that has lived? I guess I should caveat that. Who have you wronged that has lived?
Well, if we want to go by all canon, basically everybody. If we want to go by this canon, quite a few people.
Okay.
The thing to remember about Muffins, and I'm sure you're aware, but the listeners need to know, Muffins does not have any kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Tact
or subtlety. I have been known to get people's attentions, like in a particular game. I don't think this one's canon, but there's so much I don't know. It's hard to keep
track.
To keep the timeline straight.
Yeah.
I got everyone's attention in the bar by throwing the bouncer through the window and then hosing it with a minigun.
Yep.
So I'm sure that I have pissed off a lot of people.
Actually, if you search for the Super Magical YouTube channel, you might be able to actually find that game. I think it's still up on their channel.
That one was in that one, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was.
But again, that's happened many times.
Right.
The other thing that I do a lot is Kool-Aiding. We call it Kool-Aid Manning.
Yep.
Just like busting through walls. So I'm sure the property owners are not happy about me busting holes in their walls.
I mean, I can tell the story of the incident of driving.
Which one? There's so many.
So we were playing in a charity game for Extra Life, and I was playing a character. Alex was GMing this time, and Muffins was there. And we went into this game, Joe and I, like basically being like, we're gonna play off of each other. Like we know we're gonna play off of each other. I'm gonna be the diva to his mech, basically, kind of thing. And I was driving a truck, and Muffins was in the back of it, and we had this idea to drive past because there was a hit that we needed to make. I don't even know why we had to hit that bar.
We were trying to snatch one of the guards out front to question him for information about where his boss was.
Yeah. And he happens to be at this biker bar. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to drive, and Muffins is going to be in the back of the truck, and he's going to spray it with a minigun, and we're just going to create a distraction, and the other team's going to come in and grab this guard, and we're going to be out before you know it. And I rolled a 1 on my drive check.
Oh, I think you're underselling the shenanigans a little bit. So we were doing that because we kind of got bored with the other group because they were trying to do, the Ocean's 11 type stuff where they're like setting up all these like hacking into computer systems and everything. And we're like, fuck it, let's just go do it. So our goal was for you to like drive in, fishtail around, like do a sweet Tokyo drift kind of thing in the parking lot, and I was going to snatch the guard as the back end of the truck swung by, and we succeeded at that. We got the guard into the truck. As the fishtail went by, I think we cleared him by like 2 feet. The bumper. I reached out and I grabbed him by the collar and yanked him into the bed. And then as we were trying to leave, we were trying to do our sweet maneuver to get out of there. You rolled a 1 and smashed into a truck. So picture this. A pickup truck screaming into this biker bar parking lot, doing a sweet drift. Some guy, a robot leaning out, hosing the entire bar with a minigun, while simultaneously reaching out and grabbing the poor guy, and then just careens into a truck.
I wish that was the only time.
We did get away.
We got away, but it took a lot more shooting than we expected to do. It was supposed to be a smash, grab, gone.
I think we made a joke about you backing up to get off the truck and it going beep, 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 while I'm sitting there shooting at things.
I think that's actually true. Yeah. Driving in this game is hard sometimes.
It is when Muffins is involved.
All right, let's go back through the history. Muffins got shot up in that time. Mm-hmm. In her history, she was coming back from Texas at one point and rolled a 1 on her jump check, essentially.
Yeah, I was in a box truck.
And you were in a box truck, so you couldn't punch through the top of the box truck.
I was trying to jump out through the top of the box truck because I was like, it's thin plywood. Like, what's it going to stop me? Rolled a 1, pancaked into the top of it.
What else? Last time that we were doing a test run for this podcast, we were at a local game store, and Bunny Boy rolled consecutive 1s And then Eve rolled consecutive ones.
Because I did change cars at one point.
Yep.
And because I was like, okay, this is going badly, so I got into that. And then it started going bad. Our friend Hoover was driving in one car and was trying to do this sweet thing where he ramped off of a thing into another ROV. Managed to fail the roll. I still ended up on the ROV, but it was sans the car. So it got done, just not the way we wanted to.
Took some extra work for sure.
I was actually talking to Cassie about this a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And she said, that kind of makes sense because if you take an 800-pound robot and put it anywhere on a vehicle, you're going to mess up the suspension and the driving characteristics.
I guess so, yeah.
So I'm just going to, instead of calling it a curse, I'm just going to call it physics.
Well, expect more of that probably that's happening because Bunny Boy's your wheelman, so we'll see how that goes.
With this group especially, we formulate these grand plans, and they often end up being something else.
Yeah, as you've no doubt will hear or have either heard in the podcast, depending on when I release this thing. So you will hear. All right, you have an engagement model for Muffins that folks will become very very familiar with. In the, what is it, like 2 shots? 1 shot's a warning. The 2 shots I start powering up.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And what does it use when she powers up? What's the sound that she makes?
It's the old Windows XP login sound. So there have been some enemies that have heard this inexplicable Windows XP login noise coming from a box, and then suddenly a ROV is standing up out of it, hosing him with a minigun.
Just Leroy. Just straight running into that whole thing.
Well, and lest people think that Muffins is just a wanton, destruction machine, which she is, but she is very capable of finesse and agility as well. In one of our test games...
She's capable of it. She just doesn't do it a lot.
Yeah. In one of our test games, you recall, we had disguised her inside of a giant slot machine in the middle of a casino.
Yes.
And when the time came, I basically just kicked my way out of it, destroying the slot machine, which it was sacrificial, so no big deal. But I distinctly remember that the owner that contracted us was concerned that I would destroy his tables. And I rolled a 20 to avoid them all.
Yes.
So I was full tail, sprinting out of that room, definitely avoiding all of the tables.
It's the myth busted for the bull in the china shop, basically. All right, I have 2 more questions for this particular one. What would Muffins kill to know, or Grifter? But let's be honest, it's Muffins, right?
Yeah. How to get better equipment.
Okay. All right.
I guess, the whole living through Muffins vicariously. But also, as a Damascus citizen, I feel like my character would want to know why Texas destroyed Cheyenne.
Okay.
And I have decided that's probably going to be something of his motivations. Not that specifically, but something along those lines.
Right.
That'll get ironed out as the game comes along.
Okay.
So.
All right. And then we've introduced in this particular podcast like an agenda. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a if you ever played a game like Secret Hitler kind of thing, like everybody has like an agenda to kind of get done with the game. What is Muffin's agenda to quote unquote win Identico?
To get the backing of somebody or some organization that can fuel his desire to make the best of Muffins.
Okay.
Largely, I think he would want... His main desire would be to become an operative or part of some organization with the UN.
Okay.
I kind of feel like their values mesh a little bit better with him because he's not super corp friendly. It's not that he won't work with corps. It just...
It's not his game.
Not his game.
Right.
Now, if some corp comes along and offers him a valuable enough package, like he might change his tune. He's not a total mercenary, but he is realistic.
Okay. He knows how to kind of work in the city.
Yep. So if he could get contracted or get to join something from the UN task force, like that would be pretty awesome.
Nice. Okay. Anything else listeners should know before we dive headlong into the live stream of the podcast?
Remember what Stalin said.
Oh, God.
If you have a problem, and that problem is a man, remember, no man, no problem. Shoot first, ask questions later is a valid approach to life. And I think that's about it.
I think, to me, when you said when you have a problem, I was thinking Vanilla Ice. You'd be like Muffins and be like, yo, I'll solve it.
I mean, pay me enough, sure.
Okay. All right. This has been another one of our character introductions. If you want to learn more about the world of Identico, log on to www.playidentico.com. There we have the core rule book. We have links to all of our drive-through RPG pages. We have merch, which is pins, stickers, shirts, you name it, as well as links to our YouTube channel. And you can find us online in the socials just about anywhere if you search at Identico. That's IDENTECO. And check us out there. Let us know what you think. Leave a review and a star for us so other fringers can probably find this podcast as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. For Joe, for myself, for Alex, and everybody else involved with Identico, thank you all, and we'll see you here again next week.
Bye.
Love you. Goodbye.